Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Ageless Sisters, your global source for beauty and anti-aging, with your host, Cynthia Rowland, creator of Facial Magic and Luscious Lips.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's Cynthia Rowland here in kind of dreary Southern California. We have an overcast sky today, which I love, actually. I don't know why the overcast sky gives me such energy, but it could be because we have such a special guest today, because I am so excited to tell you that I have been making friends with this woman. Her name is Staness Janekos, and she has written a fabulous book called The Menopause Makeover, the ultimate guide to taking control of your health and beauty during menopause. And she forgot two words, because this is a book for menopause makeovers and beyond menopause, because it has great information for all of us. And just to give you a little background on who this wonderful woman is, she is one of the original executive producers who launched the Oxygen Media television network with guess who? By Oprah Winfrey. So hello, she's got lots of credentials behind her in television, and let's see, a writer, probably an actress as well. She's got the cutest little body now that she's taken her own advice with her menopause makeover tidbits. So here we go. Staness, welcome to the Ageless Sisters.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad we're connected, and I appreciate the invitation. It's just so great to meet another sister in the community.
Yes, and one who really understands anti-aging, because when I read your book, I was going, this woman has got it. You have just covered everything in this book.
Well, the 8-step 12-week plan, I mean, the origin started, of course, I needed to solve my own problem of navigating menopause. And when I realized that it was more than just managing symptoms, it was about relationships and happiness and redefining what makes you happy and beauty and fitness and nutrition. I'm like, oh, my God, there's all this stuff going on during menopause and beyond. Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
It was an enormous task, but once I sort of figured out this plan, it changed my life, and then everybody's like, what did you do? And then that's how the book was born. And of course, it was inspired by my wedding planner. You know, as a lot of people know, I was about to get married, and I slammed into menopause, and I'm like, why isn't there a book on menopause that's like, you know, a wedding planner? Week 1, you do this. Month 2, you do this. Right before your wedding, you do this. And there was no sort of planner to navigate menopause. So that was the birth.
Well, your book actually goes much beyond just planning, because it is a comprehensive study on how to get through the next 12 weeks to make you come out at the other side just 10 times better. Not only your mind, but your body as well.
Yeah, it's just crazy. For the majority of us that go through sort of the average age of menopause, you know, in our 40s and early 50s, you know, we're dealing with aging issues, slowing metabolism, loss of muscle mass, genetic, you know, risk factors start popping up like high blood pressure. But I guess the biggest thing I learned, and when I hooked up with Dr. Wendy Klein, who's the co-author on this, she's like an amazing women's health expert. She showed me the world of science, and the big message that she pounded into me, and I so get it, is we are all different. And this is why menopause is hard to manage for people, because what works for me may not work for you or the girl next door. And it's a science and an art. So it was my goal to provide tools so women could go to her practitioner, have an informed conversation, and figure out a plan that worked uniquely for her. And then on top of that, you know, food changes, exercises, all this stuff we have to reinvent in our 40s and 50s, or else it's going to be a frustrating transition.
Exactly. And you make it look like it's so darn easy, Staness, because your step 1 is, you know, identifying the treatment options. Step 2, the foods that can set you free. When you start reading that, you think, well, this can be very easy because somebody's done all the hard work and research into all of this, and that's what you've done.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I'm glad it looks simple. I have to tell you, I had a terrible menopause transition. You know, I got off birth control pills after 30 years that they managed to a case of endometriosis. To let my younger, soon-to-be husband know I wasn't going to be popping out babies, and we didn't want children, but I just wanted to make sure we had good scientific evidence that my egg count was at the end of the basket. And when I got off those birth control pills, I slammed into menopause. It was like a artificial hysterectomy. And I have to tell you, I gained 25, 30 pounds in a matter of 6 to 8 weeks. I was stressed. I had hot flashes, night sweats. I had a vagina and no mood for a honeymoon. I was like bridezilla. I was bridezilla. My poor fiance, I'm surprised he walked down the aisle.
Wow. Well, I thought it was very open of you and transparent to put this before photo of yourself on the back of your book. Because I can understand how that pudginess happens. It's just like you wake up with it and it's there.
It's funny, teachers often teach what they most need to learn, and writers often write what they most need to learn. And I was sitting down writing the menopause makeover, and I just went, I have to take a before picture because I got to get real here. I've gained all this weight. I'm doing my own program. I need to document it. And I had my little writing office, and I got my husband's tripod, and in secret, I put my swimsuit on, and I took, the side picture and the front picture. I have to tell you, I downloaded them on my computer. I started sobbing. I did not recognize myself. I was in a really bad situation that was unhealthy. And I sobbed so hard. I'm like, I can't believe this is me. And I was unhealthy. It was just terrible. But I have to tell you, that motivated me to get on top of my own plan. And motivation is key to success.
Exactly. And when you look at yourself and you're seeing yourself for the first time, like I know that I had gained 20 pounds myself, and it's like, oh my gosh, you just don't love yourself as much when you see your body out of shape.
Well, and also, the whole aging factor, once all those hormones start changing and just natural aging, you see your body change, you see your face change, your skin is changing on the inside and the outside, and it's tough, but one, we have to embrace realistic expectations. We are getting older, so we're not going to look 20 anymore. But the good news is,
I hate that.
I know, but the good news is we can really be the best we can be now compared to the generation before us. We have choices we never had before. So
That's
lucky
true.
us.
That's true. Staness, let's talk about. Let's kind of go through your book a little bit, because what I learned from you was like a definitive learning about the hormonal problems that we have with all of these bioidentical hormones, or the HRT comes from the pharmaceutical companies. Are you saying that this hormone therapy they're all the same, basically, just made in labs?
Well, basically, I think we have to all step back, and, I'm going to say it again, we're all different. And I think for most of us, just basic lifestyle changes, like changing how you eat, making sure you're a healthy weight, incorporating exercise, a lot of times simple lifestyle changes will manage your symptoms. And I always recommend, when I talk to my friends and women about it, start there first before you do anything. And then, for many women that just have hot flashes, acupuncture is a new technique that works to manage hot flashes. And the good news with hot flashes is usually after menopause, the majority of women, those subside. So that's the really great news. And for some people, complementary and alternative options are, that combination works for people. Like black cohosh works for many people. There's a product called Remifemin. It's recommended by doctors. It's an over-the-counter, standardized black cohosh product, and it reduces hot flashes for most women 70 to 80% in 2 to 3 weeks. That's an over-the-counter non-hormonal product for hot flashes and night sweats.
And that's so good that we have that available to us.
It's great. And then I think when all those things don't work and you're still suffering, maybe you have severe symptoms. I know I did. I did all those other things and started losing weight and started feeling better, but I was really having bad bad, severe symptoms. So I went to talk to my doctor, and, of course, there's all sorts of non-hormonal prescription therapies available. Let's say, because whenever you're talking about management with your doctor, you have to make sure you discuss your risk factors, what are your personal preferences, and a lot of women are terrified of hormone therapy no matter what it is.
Exactly.
And there, fortunately, are non-hormonal prescribed options available for women that can manage hot flashes. So if you are afraid to take hormones or you don't want to take hormone therapy, you have some other options available. And then for women, they're like, I want hormone therapy. Give me hormone therapy. I'm desperate. There's a lot of confusion between compounded bioidenticals versus FDA-approved bioidenticals. First of all, bioidenticals is a chemical formula that's identical to what we have in our body, which means when you take it, those receptors on those cells go, oh, this looks like me, and it grabs onto it. So bioidentical hormones, fantastic option for women. And even more fantastic, there's transdermal options at routes of application. There's oral, there's vaginal, there's gels. So there's a lot of different options available. Where the confusion comes for most women, because everybody's like, I want to do bioidenticals. It sounds great. Yes. So the confusion comes is, do you want to buy a product that has quality control in manufacturing? It has quality control and dosing, and it's been tested on people to provide the results it says it's going to provide. Or do you want a formula that's individualized, made by a person, not FDA approved in the so-called place it's being made, and it's not being regulated? So that's where the confusion comes. Everybody's like, I want to do bioidenticals. Great. There's lots of FDA-approved bioidentical options. So that's where a lot of confusion comes. You have to have this conversation with your doctor. And for some women who have allergies and need special dosing, compounding is a wonderful option. For me, I had problems with compounded bioidenticals. My dosing was inconsistent. I had one of my compounding pharmacists I put testosterone in my dose. My doctor did not request that. I went berserk. And so and he said, I put a little something in there for your husband. I'm like, what, you put a remote control in my cream? And so for me, it wasn't a good fit. We are all different. But the good news is there are bioidenticals, FDA approved. They come in patches and gels and sprays and creams and tablets and oral. So women have a lot of wonderful choices now when she talks to her healthcare provider.
I'm glad to know that, because that's always a question that I get from women when I hear that they're going through the change is, what should I do? And I'm glad I know a little bit more today than I did yesterday even.
Yeah,
and another thing that you bring into your book is how food is our friend through menopause. We just have to really kind of look at what we've been eating and maybe make some adjustments so that it can set us free, as you say.
Yeah, food is, we're creatures, men and women, regulated by our hormones. And what we eat can help manage hormonal health. And when you're going through menopause, the one thing you want to have on your side is hormonal health. You want to try to stabilize those crazy fluctuating hormones. And what I found for me, very simple switches. I had to start eating lean proteins at every meal. I found protein was my friend. It kick-started my metabolism, the thermic effects, so I started burning calories, low to medium glycemic carbs. I switched from white rice to brown rice. Although white potatoes are great, but I switched to yams and sweet potatoes, and, of course, lots of fruits and veggies. And I had to start eating every 3 to 4 hours. And all of a sudden, it kick-started my metabolism. My blood sugar started to stabilize, and my hormones stopped being so crazy. So food options are a fantastic way to start. I mean, we are what we eat, and it's so true. And literally, if I'm busy working and I don't have time to exercise, people are like, how is it you don't gain weight? And it's because I eat right for my age. I mean, it works great for women of all ages. But once you hit menopause, it is non-negotiable. You have to make food changes.
Yes, you do. And one interesting aspect that I read in your book that I'm going to show to my girlfriend today, because she's always complaining about belly fat, and that is protein can help burn that belly fat.
Yeah. Well, you know, our body, the fat redistributes during the menopause transition, and there's new science now that states that, you know, menopause does, you know, contribute to that redistribution of body fat. So that fat in our tush and our thighs is now drifting up to our belly, and that's why I think when it's on our butt and our thighs, we just weren't looking at it.
Yeah, we can't see it as readily.
Belly, it's like in vision. But yes, protein, and I have to say, if you have to drop weight, you have to incorporate exercise. Even great eating it'll be a slow start if you don't incorporate exercise, because you know, exercise just gets your metabolism going. It flushes your pores, your skin looks good. I mean, I have a testimonial from a woman who's lost a total of 55 pounds in like 6 months. She did not exercise at all. She just did the food program, and she lost all that weight. So it does work without the exercise. But I do have to tell you, the fountain of youth it lives in the word exercise.
It surely does. Our friend Jackie Silver has always said that exercise is the fountain of youth. Yeah,
I adore Jackie. She's just got so many great tips.
And, yes, she does.
And she incorporates the whole picture. It's more than lipstick. It is a full lifestyle choice.
Exactly. Well, you know, as you go through your book, Staness, you know, you have set the goal. You've got a section for goal setting. And, you know, so many women, I think, maybe don't even know how to identify how to set a goal, and you make it easy so that they can just follow your prompts.
Yeah, you just need to fill in the blanks, and you can't and I go through this too in life. If I don't write it down and set a goal, it usually doesn't happen. Women are busy. We're just busy these days. And if you don't sit it down, if you don't write it, you don't put it in your calendar, and you don't, you know, if you can see it, you can be it. And I'm not kidding. I post it everywhere like, okay, today I'm going to have low-fat cottage cheese, so low-fat cottage cheese. And if I see it, I do it. And low-fat cottage cheese, great source of protein, dairy protein. It's creamy, and it's a delicious snack. And it's
satisfying, too.
Yes.
There's something about it that just kind of fills you up and not out.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little luxury that's loaded with protein. And same with Greek yogurt, another with berries and little granola. Yummers, fills you up and manages your blood sugar and helps fight that belly fat.
Yes. You know, another thing that in your book, that there are two other things that I found very impressive. One is your spiritual recognition and the prayers that you wrote to help us get through the day and through the times that we just don't feel like we're ourselves. You've really taken the time to put together a nice little spiritual path for women and men, too, if they want to read it, to take, and I appreciate that.
Well, you know,
because once we realize that we're just not out here by ourselves, there's a higher power that we can call on to help our way become smooth.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When I was writing my program, I was like, you know, spirituality is so important on so many levels because it is the foundation of our pyramid. How we interpret and feel and think about life as a whole, like what we believe in, is the base of everything in our life. It's the base of who we choose to be with, the decisions we make, the goals we set. And so I sat down. I go, I want to put a menopause prayer. I need a menopause prayer for myself. I could not find anything in the whole world about.
Well, you wrote
the
sweetest
prayer.
one. That's why you couldn't find it, because it was inside of you.
It's very sweet of you to say, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. I sat down and I closed my eyes and I just was like, you know, Lord, if I'm supposed to write a prayer and I need a prayer, I just close my eyes, and I want you to know in 20 minutes I wrote not one prayer, but two. And what's in the book is completely what came out. I felt like I was merely a vehicle for something far bigger than myself. And to this day I read it, and it speaks really strongly to me, and it helps me in tough times deal with change on all levels, whether it's physical change or it's you know, spiritual change.
Yes, and we all need to kind of give ourselves up to that. And, you know, you even give steps on how to write a spiritual menopause prayer that would echo the woman or its needs. You know, You just
it's
tell us how to do all of that.
Yeah, how to tap into that place in yourself that's not identified by the outside world. I mean, that pure part of your spirit, that spark of life you were born with, that gets so cluttered up with the stress of life and relationships and aging and making money and all those
things. People forget that they are born with that, Staness.
Yeah, and so it's just a little exercise on how to re-tap into that. And I have to tell you, when I have time to sit down and just do those exercises, whether I'm writing a prayer for myself or not, I feel rejuvenated afterwards. It's like, oh my gosh, I can practice forgiveness and gratitude easier. Some people call it meditation, some people call it prayer, whatever you want to call it. Tapping into that inner special part of your spirit that's only you is a really great daily exercise.
Well, I tell you what, you have just made it so easy with this book, Menopause Makeover, because you have all the tips, you have all the resources, you have the progress chart and how to really, I mean, even your medical tests. I mean, you have things in here that I've never even seen before in a booklet or a book. And you have wonderful recipes. I want to try your turkey chili. It sounds pretty delicious.
Thank you. Well, I'm very lucky that my agent teamed me up with Dr. Wendy Klein, a leader in women's health. She really helped. She showed me the door of science, and I have to say this book is not about speculation. It is supported by science, whether it's the science of black cohosh or it's the science behind hormone therapy. Everything in this book is supported by what we know, proven by science. And it supports that we're all different, so you can apply it to yourself and create your own unique plan. Because even though I share my journey, I fully acknowledge your journey will be very different. Here are the tools you need to make progress, and this is what you need to talk to with your doctor.
Yeah, and your advice is so timely, because I just was thinking about my own experience with menopause, and I was in a meeting, and I had heard about black cohosh and evening of primrose, and when I was going through menopause, there weren't that many. Nobody was really talking about the supplement aspect and what was available. But I was in a meeting with this doctor, and I had the world's most intense hot flash. And all of a sudden, I began sweating bullets. And this doctor looks across the table at me, and she says, well, it's obvious you don't know about Dong Quai. No, I don't. What is it? And she proceeded to tell me that if I added that, maybe that would help my hot flashes some. And seriously, it was like a lifesaver to me to hear that there was something beyond black cohosh and evening of primrose. And now when I look through your book, you offer a lot of supplements that can help with hot flashes and all sorts of other feelings that you get when you're menopausal.
Well, yeah, and we all get so many different symptoms, and there are different options available, and supplements can be a wonderful addition to your regime, knowing that, once again, supplements is an unregulated business, and it's important to get a standardized supplement that's been produced in a environment that is in accordance to the FDA regulations. And I keep saying the FDA, and everybody's like, oh, especially after what's been going on in our world. But that said, having some regulations is really important. It's
a safety net for all of us.
It's a safety net. And I mean, there was I think it was 60 Minutes or 2020, they did a piece where they went and got like 10 different products of black cohosh and went to a laboratory. Only one product had even a trace of black cohosh in it.
Isn't that amazing?
Very important to make sure, if you're going to do supplements, and that's a good option for many women, that you're getting a good product. And make sure you tell your doctor, because some of them don't mix with, if you're on medications, they don't all work together.
That's exactly right. And another thing you talk about that we have not even talked about is strengthening your relationship and getting that sizzle back into your sex life. Some women just think their life is over because they just aren't comfortable having sex anymore.
Well, I think there's so many things that happen at this time in our lives. We're gaining weight, most of us, or it's reshifting. So we're not feeling good about our bodies anyway. So we've got that first sort of problem that challenge to jump over. Then if you're having fluctuating hormones that are affecting your libido and vaginal health, then all of a sudden now you're either not interested or it hurts when you have sex. So all of a sudden you're dealing with a lot of things in regards to, if we're talking about sexual relationships, that can affect your sexual relationships. So it's important that, one, you get healthy, eat well, get to a healthy weight. That's important for your health, but it's also important for your confidence and self-image. That's number one. Number two, I've been working with a group of women called GLAM, Great Life After Menopause. It's a group of amazing bloggers. And Novo Nordisk has sponsored this unbranded awareness campaign about vaginal health. And I have to tell you, I had no idea that, 75% of women suffer vaginal dryness, and that only 25% of them seek help. So, women are laying in bed suffering and not getting interested in sex anymore. And interestingly enough, the AARP did a survey on divorce rates. 60% of divorces are initiated by women during the menopause years. And a lot of that probably is we're laying in bed not interested in sex, don't feel good about ourselves, and we have a dry vagina. So
all of that makes a difference.
It all makes a difference.
All of that makes a difference.
I think it's important. It's a great time to talk to your partner and your doctor about vaginal health.
Yes, especially your partner. You need to talk with your partner about this because they're not mind readers.
No,
and
they
need
think
to
they're
know.
being rejected.
Yeah, they feel rejected sometimes. Yeah.
And it can be awkward, but it can strengthen a relationship and sort of reignite that sizzle again.
Well, I hope everybody buys your book. Because it deserves to be in everyone's hands if you want to have a better life from here until the end, because you have the pathway laid out for everyone, Staness. Where's the best place for them to buy your book?
It's Barnes & Noble, Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, Walmart. It's at all those places.
It's everywhere then.
It's everywhere.
I hope you sell 2 million of them in the next couple of weeks.
Just
to get this information into the hands of everyone. I know so many women who are so unhappy, and this just makes your book made me happy when I read it.
It's a plan, and I thank you for sharing it. But I have to say, my passion in all of this is if one woman has a better menopause experience, then it's just been all worthwhile. I mean, it's just we're all a sisterhood, and this transition can really be an amazing time of reinvention, and if we all embrace it together, it just makes it a life stage that we can celebrate and not dread.
Yes, that's right. Now, I know that you sent over 5 little tips. I'm going to put those on my blog so that women who want to listen to our broadcast and just have the first 5 little tips. But I'm wanting to say in your book you have probably thousands of tips because it's so well written. So the Menopause Makeover by Staness Janekos.
I know it's a mouthful. You did really good. You did good.
That's so funny. Your last name just comes very difficult for me. I don't know why. But anyway, I appreciate having you on the show today as our guest because you're just a delightful person.
Well,
and
it's
I
nice
hope that
to
our
meet you,
paths will
you.
cross many times in the future.
I suspect it will.
That would be great. So, Staness, thank you so much for your information today. We're going to put all of this on our blog and get it posted everywhere so women across the world can understand that there is something very simple they can do to make their life easier from menopause and beyond. And that is taking your book and just working the program. It's that easy, I think. So thanks again for being on our show today, Staness.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, and I applaud your efforts in embracing everybody's experience as we get 1 year older at a time.
As we get older, yes, we are. Anyway, my next guest is going to be a gal who's a rebel. Her name is Katie Humphrey, and she is a kick-in-the-pants girl, and Staness, she reminds me of you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
We're going to say goodbye from the Ageless Sisters And until next time, we just encourage you to be the best you can. Bye-bye for now.
You've been listening to the Ageless Sisters. Tune in again next time for the most up-to-date beauty and anti-aging secrets, tips, and shortcuts. Aging secrets, tips, and shortcuts. Aging secrets, tips, and shortcuts.